Why take one vacation with the family when you could take all of them? With Royal Caribbean, you don't just go to the beach. You visit a private island and race down the tallest water slide in North America. You don't just go for a road trip. You ATV and zip line through the jungle. You don't just go somewhere new. You rappel down waterfalls and discover ancient temples. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
This episode is brought to you by Pepsi Wild Cherry. Pepsi Wild Cherry is bursting with delicious cherry flavor and a sweet, crisp taste that gives you more to go wild for. Getting wild may look different these days, but whether it's opting for a solo Friday binge watch or a big night out, everyone can indulge in their wild side with Pepsi Wild Cherry. Also available in Zero Sugar. So grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Welcome back, Ram fans. This is Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are proud members of the Fans First Sports Network. That's fansfirstsports.com. You can also follow us on YouTube. Our channel is at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. You'll hear from my co-host, Tom, on occasion as well. Hey, we're not Rams insiders. We're just longtime fans who love talking about our Los Angeles Rams. Let's get to it.
Welcome to another edition of Rams Up Roundtable, post Super Bowl edition. Joined with my co-host on Rams Up, Mark, and our regular guest Ian, and another regular guest Paul will be joining us soon. So, guys, Ian, how'd you like that Super Bowl?
Woo! What a dramatic game that was. I mean, look, if you're not a football junkie, you probably thought that first half was awful, right? I enjoy good defense, but at the same time, I do tend to agree with the people that thought it was kind of whack, right? That first half, in the sense of it wasn't just that the defenses were playing well. It was just sloppy offensive football, really, on both sides. Fumbles, bad blocking up front, tip passes. You know, it was kind of meh if you're just watching it purely for entertainment. But if you're a football junkie, you appreciated the good defense. And second half, everybody just woke up. More fireworks, more offensive. Oof, wow, look at that. Holy crap. And I was a hater on Sunday. I was at a friend's place, and half of his family are 49ers fans. And it's all friendly crap talk and all that. But I enjoyed the slow decline of smiles and cheerful faces as the game went on and time kept getting less and less and less. It was a great, and I was being nice. I was just watching football objectively, but golly, does Kyle Shanahan keep blowing Super Bowls or what?
Oh man, Paul. I mean, Mark, where'd you watch it, and how did it play out for you?
You know, I almost followed my typical non-Ram Super Bowl MO, and that is I go golfing and I get back by halftime, and I just wasn't feeling it. So I watched the game by myself upstairs in our little TV room, and I had it on mute. I was on my laptop as well, doing podcast research, looking at drafts, mock drafts, and free agents and all that, and kind of had an eye on the game, keeping an eye, and like Ian said, the first half, you know, and the one thing you left out, Travis Kelce, star player, yelling at his coach.
Oh yeah,
it was just weird. It was just a weird first half, and I could only think, you know, if you weren't a football fan and you're watching that and you're like, so these teams are supposed to be good teams? What's going on here? This is kind of bad football. But yeah, that second half, especially with the punt, when that punt hit the cornerback's foot and the Chiefs recovered, something inside of me woke up and I said, this may be, the tide may be changing here. And it was fun it was fun after that.
Yeah, the next play was the Chiefs' first touchdown. So,
Right.
Crazy,
yeah,
I
it's
know.
interesting. Yeah, but just to kind of reinforce you guys' points by numbers, the first 17 possessions of the game, leading up to that punt, after that punt, there were 4 scores. There was let's see, San Francisco had a field goal and a touchdown, and Kansas City had 2 field goals. And then after that punt and the recovery, and then the Chiefs scored on the next play. That was the first of 7 consecutive scores by those teams.
Wow.
So,
Right.
it went from 4 out of 17 to 7 out of 7. So pretty crazy. But I wanted to talk to you guys about the a couple things. I mean, let's just kind of run down rapid fire real quick
Yeah.
here. So can we put the Brock Purdy is just a system quarterback to rest or not?
Well, let me just chime in, and I'm not. I certainly don't evaluate players. I'm not trained at doing that. I just see what I see as a fan, as a fan that loves my team, and I think he's a good quarterback. I just don't think he's anything special. I just don't think he's the type of quarterback that, if you're planning on him being your franchise quarterback for 3 or 4 years to come, he's going to be in a lot of playoff games where he's overmatched as far as the opposition quarterback.
Yeah.
But they have a great offense, a great defense. I still think if I'm a 49er fan, I'm concerned about that because he's going to be one of those guys that's too good to move on from, but maybe not good enough to carry your team on his shoulders when he needs to. But that's what I saw. Maybe I'm wrong. That's kind of what I saw.
It's going to be a lot different when he gets paid. Right now, he has 1 more year of this cheap deal, and then that guy's got to get paid. And are they going to pay him? And so forth. So, and when they pay him, they're not going to have as much money to surround him with weapons.
Am I seeing? Do you guys agree with what I'm seeing, or am I wrong? Maybe
No,
I'm
I
wrong.
mean, I think, look, this is the best quarterback other than Matt Ryan that Shanahan has been the play caller for, right? I mean, we're not talking about Kirk Cousins' Redskin days because I don't think Kyle was calling plays at that time, if I remember correctly, when Cousins was the full-time guy. Correct me if I'm wrong, anybody. But look I give Purdy credit, man. His legs are valuable. His mobility is extremely valuable in today's game. I mean, look, he should have had a disastrous passing day if you weren't able to escape and create. So I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's good. Now, good enough or pretty good. Now, where's that fine line? I think maybe he's good to good enough to win a championship at this moment. And look at guys, he's barely going to be pushing into year 3 of this 4-year rookie contract. So I expect improvement. We just got to be real unless something insane happens. So I think not only was he probably good enough to win this game, I think he was good enough to win the Super Bowl, truthfully. I just think Kyle Shanahan just play calling just straight up sucks in second halves of Super Bowls. I mean, that has to factor into it too. I mean, when you have no threat of a running game in the second half and it's just all drop back stuff against probably one of the top 2 or 3 secondaries in the entire league, I would argue it might be 1 or 2, truthfully. McDuffie, Snead were just outstanding this entire game and through the whole season. You're not helping any quarterback out really with that, whether it would be Stafford. It's like, hey, let's run the ball. And it's just, what a shock, guys. All these teams who run the ball well throughout the whole regular season, come playoff time and big moments, they all forget to call the run plays. Isn't it crazy? We did it. Lions did it. 49ers did it. Ravens did it. It's just like, what is happening with these teams who can run the football? Everyone just abandons it, man. It's
seems like there's a token run on first down of one of the early drives, possessions in the second half, and then it gets stuffed for a lot, maybe a 1-yard loss or 1-yard gain or 0, and then that's it. We're not doing this anymore.
I mean, McCaffrey only rushed the ball like two or 3 times for a quarter and a half after halftime.
That's crazy.
That's insane. An all-pro running back, leading rusher, you only got him the ball 3-4 times in the run game for a majority of that second half. I mean, my goodness, that's just bad offensive play calling and feel for the game. I mean, Golly. So I think I say all that to say a lot of quarterbacks would be in a tough spot playing a top 3 secondary. But I think Purdy did enough, man. He led his team to game-winning field goal potentially, and I think that was good enough. You just ran into a Hall of Famer, all-time great quarterback who's going to get the job done. So
yeah, the 49ers might be headed toward Utah Jazzdom in
Jesus,
not being able to get over the Michael Jordan hump. So well, hey, let's talk about another topic here. This new playoff rule and the Niners winning the toss and deciding to take the ball second. So I'll just frame it up and then get your guys' take. So Kyle, the new rule is both teams get a possession, period, end of story, no matter what the first team does.
Yep.
And then after that, it's sudden death. Yep. And the clock's not an issue. It just is what it is. Yep. So they get their full timeouts and, off we go. So Niners win the toss and elect to receive the ball and have possession first. So the rationale from Shanahan after the game was, well, yeah, I mean, if we possess the ball and then they come back and do the same thing that we did, then we'll have first shot at sudden death, which of course you'd want. And so that was the rationale. So take it away. Go ahead, Mark. Give me your thoughts on that.
Jesus. Well, the Chiefs, I think Kyle said they did rely on their analytics. Right. And their analytics said that's the way to go. Whereas the Andy Reid's analytics told them the opposite. Right. And I don't know. I'm thinking it's just common sense, and the analytics would probably back it up that you kick off and you get the ball second. And so I'm wondering how much is Kyle being completely honest with us? It seems a little sketchy to me.
Well, you know what? I think this will tell all, and this will always tell all. What do the players say, and what do they think? That's for any of these coaching questions that we have, like this moment right now, and that moment in the Super Bowl. What do the players say? Majority by a ton of credited reporters all said a majority of the 49ers players did not know these new overtime rules.
Well, they didn't know the rules.
I mean, Jesus, guys. I mean, this was in place. It's been in place for at least a couple seasons now. I mean, my goodness. And then not only that, I mean, the head referee says it before the coin toss is flipped to decide who gets the ball and defer and all that fun stuff. So, I mean, I get it. You're locked in. You're not paying attention to the noise of the stadium, but like, holy cow. And then you hear the complete opposite with Kansas City's players. Yep. Every week since Mahomes said this, every week since I've been a Chief, we go over the overtime rules. And when they changed after we beat the Bills, we have somebody come in every week and explain the new set. And after a while, he's like, all right, I get it. But it's so ingratiated in how they're going to attack, how they're going to defend, that it's a no-brainer that they were going to want to kick off anyway, and then see if they have to match it and or overcome a field goal and win it. It's just crazy.
It made sense to me what Shanahan said. I mean, if because hey, look, you go down, you do your best, you get a field goal, you obviously want to score, you get a touchdown, you kick the extra point, and then if the other team comes back, if they if they kick a field goal to match you, then you get the ball first and in overtime, and you can go down, and that's why they changed the rule, because they didn't want one team to have a chance to go into sudden death. So it made all the sense in the world to me. And I was looking at the people that were arguing the other way, but then I started thinking about it. Here's what became obvious. It's such an advantage to the team that would have the first shot at sudden death, right? The team that receives the ball first. It's such an overwhelming advantage to that team that the team that got the ball second would never give it back to them. In other words, if the first team didn't score, then you get the ball, you go, all you have to do is kick a field goal. First team kicks a field goal, you're not going to kick a field goal. You're going for it, because the odds of you making the first down, I mean, unless it's 4th and 15 or something like that, and you're in field goal range, you're going to be like, okay, we got to do it. But it would be a complete bailout move in a terrible situation. But you would never put yourself in that situation knowing that you were going to, go 4-down territory, right?
Yeah.
And then if the team scores a touchdown, the Chiefs even said, if the Niners scored a touchdown, because they were always planning on hoping to get the ball second, they said if the Chiefs scored a touchdown, we would go down and obviously try and score a touchdown. If we scored a touchdown, we were going for 2.
Hey, gangster. Yeah.
Right? And because it's a way better odds of getting a 2-point conversion than the other team being able to drive down and get and kick a field goal, right? Especially given the stats I just said, where the last 7 possessions someone had scored. So it was a no-brainer to take the ball second in retrospect. And you say, well, always ask the players. What's the real acid test of whether that was a move or not is what happens the next time it happens, because now everyone's going to study it, go through all the scenarios we just did and 10 times more, put it into their AI algorithms. And I can almost guarantee you no one will ever again who wins the coin toss opt to take the ball first.
Yeah. I just thought it was foolish. But if they believe that it was golden goal style, right? Like certain soccer leagues out here, and where it's first goal wins it, which it used to be for a gazillion years in the NFL, pretty much 100 years, right? It was sudden death. Then I understand that. Let's go win the game. But for them to not know that and players to not realize that for a couple of seasons now, I mean, that's just bad coaching. I'm sorry. That's bad organizational prep. That's bad head coaching. That's bad from ownership. For this thing to not be talked about and not realized, even if somebody in the coaching staff didn't point out, Shanahan, someone in the front office, Lynch, someone in ownership, York, didn't point these things out. How does any of the players not know this? It's just crazy to me. And this is just another reason why the 49ers have not won a championship since I've been alive. This is another small reason why. In the under 30 years I've been on planet Earth, I got to go watch the VHS tape highlights. I mean, YouTube's fun and all, but, if you want a hard copy, sorry, man, you got to go pull out that cassette a little grainy, and to see Steve Young tear up the Chargers. But it's just crazy, crazy how that was a thing. And
so speaking of Shanahan, wow. Speaking of Shanahan, just did a little research today, and so it turns out there's been 58, Super Bowls. It was obviously Super Bowl 58, which means there's been 100, 750. Add 2 on championship games, and in the last 58 years, there's been 174 Super Bowl and championship games. 18 of the 174 have featured double-digit blown leads. So some team was up by 10 or more at some point in the game, and they lost. And so it's interesting. I didn't want to take too much time in this tweet, but it turns out 7 teams were involved in all 18 of those games. In all 18 of those games, there were 7 teams that were involved in every single one, either on the comeback side or on the blown lead side.
Really
That's
insane.
Crazy.
That's
insane,
crazy. Honestly.
And then those same 7 teams also were obviously involved in more than one of those games. And crazy. So there's only one team that is undefeated. Of those 7 teams, there's only one team that has a undefeated record in in other words, come back from 10-point deficits in those games, and that's the LA Rams.
That's right, baby.
And Sean McVay obviously was the coach of both of those.
Yeah. What games were those? Say them off the top for our people here.
Yeah, that was the conference championship game in 2018, the 2018 season against the Saints. The Rams were down by 13 in that game.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And then, of course, in the other conference championship game in 2021, they were down to the Kyle
Shanahan led 49ers.
Kyle Shanahan led 49ers. So I won't go through all the stats. You can look it up on my my feed on Twitter at Ramsbeat.
Oh,
But
what's the most important one there before
Shanahan? Yeah.
Yeah.
So San Francisco is 2-4 in those games. They've been involved in 6 of these games, 6 out of 18, and they're 2-4. And Kyle Shanahan is 1-3. Jim Harbaugh was 1-1 in those games, but Kyle Shanahan is 1-3 in those games. Before this year, he won his first game this year against that Lions comeback. But
this is the double-digit lead, right? He's 1-3 in those.
Yeah, double-digit leads, right? So in other words, he's blown 3 double-digit leads, and he's come back from 1 double-digit deficit. Yeah,
crazy, man. I mean. So let's go through it real quick, our friends listening in. So it's the NFC Championship game, right, that we overcame and came back here to propel us to the bowl.
The Shanahan games, yeah.
Yep. And then let's not forget the 28-3 magical Tom Brady comeback.
No, that's not even included.
Oh, well, I'm just going through real quick in my memory bank. So
that's not I didn't even include it in that one because he was the offensive coordinator in that one. But yeah,
let's not forget those play callings in the second half where they just didn't give it to Freeman, and who was the other running back that was pretty good? I'm blanking on his name, but
yeah.
You know who I'm talking about, my football fans out there, where they just went Matt Ryan, throw it, and they blew that. Then, right, this past Super Bowl against Chiefs round 2, and then Chiefs and Niners round 1 and 19, right? That's the other one that was blown.
The 2020 season.
Yes, 2020.
And then they also blew the we talked about the Rams conference championship game, and then he also blew the there's 3, right? There's his 3 blown games.
And then Atlanta. I'm sorry, everybody. I know some Falcons fans.
That's an asterisk because he was the
he was the OC. But I mean, hey, bro, you're part of a lot of legacy defining collapses. Like, oh my goodness, man. So I don't want to hear. And with all that said, everybody, gentlemen, I don't want to hear about Kyle Shanahan being a better coach than Sean McVay anymore. Okay, I'm done. I don't want to hear it. Your opinion's invalid. I'm sorry. They've had better rosters year in and year out. I would say most times in the Rams. In a year in and year out basis. And for them to not get it done repeatedly, and for them to lose in these games, like really bad. Think about even the Philly game. And you can say the quarterbacks. I get it, but this, what I'm saying. We can just go down the list. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it with this stacked roster. They went all in this season, right? Traded for Chase Young, signed Randy Gregory. Obviously, the picks that they were hoping Lance would work out. They got bailed out by Purdy being their best quarterback, and since Shanahan's been their coach, right? They got bailed out by that. Let's keep it real. I mean,
and they are very fortunate to beat the Packers and the Lions.
Yeah, and if Dan Campbell just isn't a meathead with going for it, they lose that game. If Jordan Love doesn't make some dumb throws at the end of that divisional round, they probably lose that game even before that. So obviously there's luck involved, but I'm just all that to be said. I don't want to hear about Shanahan being better than McVay. I don't want to hear it.
Not even. Yeah. No evidence for that.
Why take one vacation with the family when you could take all of them? With Royal Caribbean, you don't just go to the beach. You visit a private island and race down the tallest water slide in North America. You don't just go for a road trip. You ATV and zip line through the jungle. You don't just go somewhere new. You rappel down waterfalls and discover ancient temples. Because this isn't just any vacation. This is all the vacations. Come seek the Royal Caribbean. Ships Registry, Bahamas.
So, Mark, what are some of your takeaways from the game? I know you jotted down some notes.
Well, yeah, it's not so much necessarily about the game, but the aftermath and moving forward. One comment about the game, though, I still take a little bit of joy in that 3rd round draft pick of the 49ers, the kicker, Jake Moody. Now, he did hit a couple long ones, but that missed extra point was big. It was really big.
Really big.
And that may have been what lost him the game. But hey, he did hit 250-plus yarders. So
yeah, he nailed those. I thought he would potentially miss that one to put him up ahead late in the 4th under 2 minutes.
Right.
It was kind of veering to the right, and I was like, oh, and then and then it curved in. And then I was like, all right, I trust my homeboy to lead them to tie or victory, and He pulled through. I won some cash. Thanks, Mahomes.
Yeah, what my big takeaway now is the 49ers more or less went all in. I mean, they've drafted really well and they have a good core of guys that they've drafted, but
Yep.
Kinlaw, Young, Gregory, Trent Williams, at the end of last year, Trent Williams was talking about retiring. And
Was he really? Wow.
yeah, he said that he mentioned it. He said, I don't know how much longer I can do this.
Shoot. Man.
So what is, and they have, I looked, I think right now they have a $500,000 in cap space. They have a lot of draft picks, but they're going to lose a lot of guys already. I have to think the pecking order in the NFC West could already be changing. Perhaps they probably right now have a better roster than the Rams, regardless. But I think the NFC West is going to be really interesting. I think Seattle with the coaching change there, a lot of good young players. I think Arizona's pointed in the right direction. I think this is a good opportunity for the Rams to win back the NFC West. I really think it is. Teams coming off of Super Bowl losses like this, it's tough to come back from that. The wear and tear on you, and then to lose like that and have a bunch of free agents heading out the door. There's more reasons to. This is a good result for more than just the fact that, hey, we like to see the 49ers lose. I think it could be a moment in time for our Rams to bounce back.
Yeah, so let's go through that list of free agents because I was interested to see who that is. Our old friend Sebastian Joseph Day.
Right.
Thank you for going to the Niners, but thank you for your services as a Ram. They were fun times. Randy Gregory, Chase Young, who they traded picks for, right? Sam Darnold, the backup quarterback. Javon Kinlaw, who's, they were hoping he would be some monster, but he never turned out to be anything. So, that's been a hit and miss, right? I would say. Would you guys agree with that on that first round pick?
Draft pick? Yeah.
Yeah. So that didn't work out. Logan Ryan, who was playing a little bit this past Sunday. Chris Conley, some of the return guys. Jawan Jennings, who's shockingly been really clutch for them since he's been a 49er. I mean, good blocker, made had a reception touchdown and a passing touchdown. I mean,
he might have been MVP if they had won.
I mean, even this whole playoff tournament, he was making really important third down grabs. So he's been impressive. He matters as a third receiver. And who else? I'm just going Ray McLeod.
Don't they have to resign? Don't they have to give Ayuk? I think is Ayuk going into his?
Ayuk, I think, has one more season to go.
I think they have to pay him though. Yeah, I'm not.
And
sure.
then the injury too.
But I think they have that 5th year option. They haven't exercised, or have they? I'm not too sure. We could find out.
And then there's the injury to Greenlaw. I'm not sure how serious that is, but
he tore his Achilles. I think they announced that was an Achilles tear. And what a shame. Look, if we have our crap talk, rivalry with the 49ers and with all the teams in the West and whoever else we beef with, right, football wise. God, anyone with the injury, man. I mean, that's you take a step back, be a human for a sec. That sucks. The biggest game, you're playing good. It's like, dang, dude. You could see
he was just running out on the field, wasn't he?
He was just kind of getting a couple jumping jack, style, like, let's go. All right, we're back on, and then lands. And in the video, if you slow it down, you see the famous calf kind of explode, meaning the Achilles snapped. You see that in his calf when you watch it in a slow mo. All these. Surgeon doctors that are on the internet sphere pointing out the injuries now. You see a lot of that. When they had that slowed down, you see that Achilles pop, and it's like, oh boy, man. And he'll be gone a majority of the season, and that'll help the Rams. I mean, what's the football side of it? How's that benefit the Rams? Good linebacker won't be playing against us for probably at least one of the games, probably the whole season. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I mean, tough.
Yeah, we're gonna miss those 2 to 3 15-yard personal fouls though on late hits out of bounds. But
he pushed the boundaries, didn't he?
Yeah,
Jesus.
He did. But he's a great player, and never want to see.
He's a hell of an inside linebacker.
Speaking of injuries and how that impacted the game, he went down early on. Feliciano, their guard, went down early on.
What was he? He was holding his ribs when that happened. Huh? Did they ever say what it was? I don't remember.
I don't know. Yeah, they didn't say, but he was out. They had a backup. They also Debo went out for a while. And
you saw that hammy get pulled when he was running around. Yeah, I was like, yeah.
And that didn't help, but he came back pretty strong. But yeah, and then I'm not
I
sure
guess
if
no.
Kittle may have been out for a little while too.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
I saw
was.
that. It was some shoulder. I mean,
Yeah.
these tight ends that block or I have to be involved, they're just beat the hell up, man. Look at Higbee. Higbee's always dealing with something.
Yeah,
Mark
you're right.
Andrews is always dealing with something. Kittle feels like he's always dealing with something. And
And
Kelsey, he blocks, but like they don't really use him in that way. Let's just be honest.
Yeah,
He's in there more for decoy, just kind of seal somebody off. He's not trying to put people in the dirt and be the lead blocker like a Shanahan, McVay style offense where that's
Right.
required of our receivers.
Well,
at
they
tight
have
end.
their fullback for that. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're just beat up, man, and
Isn't
oof,
isn't
they're just
Jusek
beat up.
Jusek is he a free? I don't know if he's a free agent or not, but
Yeah, and I think
Oh,
Debo.
I think Juszczyk is still signed. Yeah,
Yeah,
He'll be
Debo's
back.
playing style. He's always banged up, and that's what worries me about Puka. Puka, very similar style, just throws his body into everything.
Well, I mean,
and
Cup too, man. He's the lead. He was the lead fullback for offense for every year up until this season. It's just that style of play, man. There's a shelf life to it, and that's just reality.
Cooper Cup. Yeah, just the same thing.
It's reality. But yeah, man. I mean, it's just crazy, dude. I mean, what did the Rams go through not too long ago? Our third, fourth safety, Nick Scott, was the third, fourth guy, and he played great that tournament. We got to call Eric Weddle off the couch, and he played A+ though. Let's just be honest. That was shocking. So we had to deal with that, right? We had to deal with no Robert Woods off an ACL. We had to deal with in the Super Bowl for freaking sake, down to our 4th-string tight end in Hopkins, down to Van Skoranek dropping passes, leading interceptions.
Cooper Cup missed the first Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, so just miss me with all that injury stuff. I don't care if Hufunga, was out and all these other, sequential injuries. Just get it done. Get it done. And the 49ers cannot. And they sort of remember.
Well, yeah, let's call it depth is a key component. It's a key component of the NFL, right? When you have injuries. So, yeah. So, what else you got, Mark or Ian, on this?
Oh, well, speaking of coaching, this is something that's been just the football film junkie that I am. And don't worry, everybody, when the season starts, we're going heavy. And make sure when I come on here, I'll give you the breakdowns of our games. But in the most critical 3rd, 4th game-winning touchdown plays of the Super Bowl, it was the same freaking play over and over again, and the 49ers couldn't defend it in all aspects. What was it? Basically, long story short, Mahomes in shotgun, running back either to his right hip or his left hip, not pistol, left or right. And it was a triple option play, meaning there's 3 things the quarterback can do, and it's up to him. In the old school triple option, it was all run oriented. It'd be you're reading one defender, either you're going to hand it off to the first running back and keep it, and then the third option off that 1-2 would be, am I going to keep it again, or am I going to pitch it to another running back? In this variation that the Mahomes Andy Reid combo did and pulled off over and over again was read option shotgun. Mahomes is reading the defensive end, and the defensive end in this situation for the 49ers is Bosa. They're leaving him unblocked purposely, and they're going to see what he does. Mahomes is going to see, is he going to attack the running back like I'm handing it off to him, or is he going to try to be patient and see what I'm going to do? If he attacks the running back, Mahomes is going to keep it and not hand it off. If he kind of stays put, kind of guessing himself and not committing to anything, he's going to give it to the running back, Pacheco. So each time he crashed in the first 2 attempts, Mahomes kept it. Now, what is that third option? There's no pitch man like 1945 football. What it was is somebody running a quick little out route or a quick little angle flat route. The first couple times it was Kelsey. He was covered. So Mahomes said, perfect. I'm just going to take off and get this first down. I'm going to convert this 3rd and long. I'm going to convert this 3rd and short and this 4th down. So that happened over and over and over again. And then what happened on the game-winning touchdown? It was the same exact concept. Bosa stood home, then made a great play last minute to crash. Mahomes made a great play seeing it, faking, keeping it, and then they guarded Kelsey, but then they left McCole Hardman wide open. So they were just getting caught up in the same play over and over and over again, and they couldn't defend all aspects of it. Sometimes they guarded the first run and pass well. Mahomes took off. The last time they defended both runs, Mahomes and the running back, and then he led to the Hardman touchdown. But I know that was a long way of saying, come on, coaches, 49ers, you got to figure that out at some point. And they couldn't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I think to your point, Steve Wilkes was dramatically outcoached, and
Yeah.
and Spagnuolo was going blow for blow with Shanahan, but Wilkes was definitely the weak link in that game. And at one point, Shanahan even called a timeout when he saw that Wilkes was going with the same set, and Shanahan called the timeout in overtime and said, "Whoa, what's going on here? I don't want to see this crap anymore." So, yeah, interesting. I'm not sure if Wilkes will be back on that team next year, to be honest. So, but pickings are pretty thin at this point, right? You're pretty late in the game to be trying to find somebody, but we'll see.
I know, but I mean, you think a defense that talented would be able to identify and read and react to the same play happening to them over and over again? Like,
exactly.
It's crazy, man, how much they just could not handle that. And it's not even that complicated. It's really, really, man, oh man, I think what did they call it? Corn dog. It was corn dog that led to the 2 wide open touchdowns against the Eagles last Super Bowl. And I think Andy Reid said this was corn dog with some mustard and ketchup, which is a little bit different look because it was a triple option look, instead of just the straight drop back. So that's a cool little name. Shout out to Reid with all the food references. I know that. I hope he got his hamburgers. Thankful for him. Rams Nation is thankful for him. I hope he gets all the hamburgers and corn dogs that he needs for stopping the 49ers 2 times in the last couple 4 or 5 years.
That's it. So any final thoughts before we wrap it up, Mark?
No, just very, very happy. I think the 49er franchise might be living under a little bit of a curse. And that's just the way it is. It's good times to be a Rams fan. You figure over the last 30 years, the Rams have been to 4 Super Bowls, won 2 of them. And the 49ers in that same time are 0-3. There's still a lot of 49er fans, a lot of football fans in general, kind of living in the past when it comes to the 49ers legacy.
And what, Mark? We got to start talking about them like we talk how we crap on the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys have won a Super Bowl more recently than the 49ers.
1 year, the year after this, and then 1 year later, right?
Like, and obviously the Cowboys have not been in a conference championship, and that's its own separate laughable thing we can tease that fan base. But hey, man, yeah. I mean, look, we're an entire generation later, and they still haven't pulled it off. I mean, Joe, I'm under 30, so since I've been alive, it hasn't happened.
I've already talked about that too. The 3 iconic franchises that people, if you just can ask someone to name 3 great franchises, 3 franchises they will name in a heartbeat are the Cowboys, 49ers, and the Raiders. And between those 3 teams, it's just not happening. And
living in the past. Yeah, right. Sorry, your grandpappy's what he saw with his own 2 eyes don't count for you. Anymore, people.
One of my favorite Jethro Tull songs, "Living in the Past," and they are.
Yeah. There we go. Well, I'm just glad I didn't have to hear it for the next 6 months.
Oh, me too, guys. It would have just been such a whack next couple months before the draft. It just would have been just so whack. That's just the right way to say it, right? Would have been done. Oh my, bang bang this, bang. How about bang bang choke gang with Shanahan doing it again? I think
even in the last couple of weeks, all the 49er garb I've been seeing that you don't typically see. I think Ram fans are a lot more consistent in showing their colors. I wear my Ram stuff all year long. I was wearing it in the Fisher days, right? Right. And I think 49er fans, there's a big percentage of them that kind of come out of the woodwork when times are good.
Yeah, you know what it is, too? We need that choking energy out of the Dodgers, by the way, too. That's all these 49er fans that are Dodger fans, all that bad juju. We don't need that, man. And all you Cowboy fans and you're choking bad juju being Dodger fans, too.
Yeah.
Please, let's make the conversion to the right LA team, and then we don't have to stop with this bad juju.
And this is
transferring to my other favorite sports. God.
Yeah, and if you care about that, how many Ram fans or how big our fan base is, this could be a window of opportunity as well for the Rams with a lot of their young stars, guys like Puka and Kyron Williams, and the 49ers laying another dud. The Rams have a good season. Those 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old football fans might latch on to us.
That's right. And look, I see all the youth around. I mean, all the younger, let's say 12 and under, they're all rammed out. It's happening. I see the Cups, I see the Donalds, I see the Pukas now. I mean, thank God for that Polynesian man, Puka.
I know.
Like I think his great energy, obviously him being a baller helps, duh. But he's got what they say, that golden retriever energy, just always smiley, always happy to be there. And I think that rubs off well on just young kids.
Yeah, and I think Kyron has a little bit of that too.
And it's worked beautifully. And I think it's going to take time, everybody. We could probably need another generation or so. We need these young kids to hit their 20s and above. Then I think it'll be pretty rammed out here in LA. There'll always be the other fan bases. Everyone comes out here because they hate where they live originally, right? That's just the way it is. I get it. But it'll take time, but we're making progress. Hey, multiple playoff visits, multiple Super Bowl appearances, one of them in your own stadium, in your own city. We're on a great path. Hey, let's keep it going.
That's
good stuff.
Good stuff, you guys. Well, great discussion of the Super Bowl. We're going to move on next episode, Mark, I'm sure, to the draft and free agency. And
I'm excited.
What's next for the LA Rams? So
I'm excited, sure, gentlemen.
As the conductor of this Rams Up Network, Mark, I'm sure, has a lot in store, and we'll be back as well into the roundtable and get into all those topics as we move forward. And the Rams, again, kind of an overachieving, take a year off, kind of a year, or reset year, whatever you want to call it, taking $75 million in cap hit, getting rid of all that cap stuff, and fortunately killed the draft, let a bunch of young guys play, and again, way overachieved,
won the lottery.
Playoff. But now it's go time, and the Super Bowl just ended,
right.
And it is go time. The Rams are coming back this year, so a whole new energy to the fan base, a whole new energy to the front office, the players, the staff, everybody, and it's going to be a fun offseason for Rams and the Rams Up podcast. So can't wait. Look forward to it. Look forward to all Mark's great content and all of our roundtable content and so forth. So thanks again, you guys. That'll wrap it up on the Rams Up Roundtable post Super Bowl edition, joined by Mark, my co-host on Rams Up, and Ian. Paul didn't make it in, but we'll catch up with him next time.
That's all right.
Thanks again, you guys.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Remember, go Rams, and bang, bang, choke gang once again. LA all day.
That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.